So here we are going to ride Marcell's Spyder, Can-Am Spyder RT in a whole lot of red. Heath has just been riding it, so we're going to do a little review. I'll put all the specs at the end of the video because anybody can look those up. This is just going to be a driving review to see how the bike feels, how it rides on the road. So let's give her. Okay, holy, it's like a fighter cockpit. Okay, so first thing I did was take the brake off, and then I'm going to hit the... Yep, my foot is on the right brake, and now I'm going to hit the paddle up button, which has put it into gear. All right, go ahead, guys. So the paddle shifters work very, very well. Marcell has a great setup on this bike. We've got a really good view from the mirrors. Of course, it's impossible to ride diagonally from another bike, or I'll bump them into the ditch. Steering is very sharp on this, very little input to make the bike turn, and it cruises along effortlessly. Lots of protection from the windscreen. Let's try lowering the windscreen and seeing what the wind is like. Yeah, with the windscreen down, you do get more wind on your helmet, but it is not turbulent wind. Wow, this is a very different experience from driving a motorcycle, from a two-wheeled motorcycle. Nice back support from the driver's backrest. The seat's comfortable. You're in a very much a sit-up and beg position with your feet dangling straight down. Very similar to my adventure bike. I think I just hit the info button to try and signal. Lots of power for passing. It definitely feels much more stable on the road than a trike. I had a chance to drive a Harley-Davidson electric ride trike a number of years ago out of Trike Zone, and you got that up to 100k an hour and it felt like you were just gonna fly off it and die. But this is much more stable. It's probably beautiful to drive with someone as a passenger. It is a little bit cramped for me. I think I would like to sit a little bit farther away from the handlebars, but I'm sure that can all be done when you set up the bike for yourself, or of course just riding it the way it's already set up. This bike just cruises along beautifully. Looks like it's got lots of luggage space in the two bags and the trunk. We'll take some still pictures and insert them after, along with all the specs at the end of the video. Yeah, I suppose this might be something I could get used to if I ever got to the point where I was unable to keep my balance, or was unable or unwilling to lift up a heavier bike and push it backwards for moving around either in your garage or in a parking lot when you're on a trip. But it is definitely a whole different feeling. But it's It doesn't take very long to get used to it. For right now in my life, though, I do definitely prefer 2 wheels to 3. There's a beautiful setup on here with this Spyder accessories to hold your GPS, your camera. Of course, he's got cup holders and all sorts of stuff on this bike. So yeah, it's a really nice riding bike. We're just going past these semis and large U-Hauls, or not U-Hauls, fifth wheels, that's it. Going the other way, and no movement in the bike from the wind. Acceleration is nice. The paddle shifters are easy to use. Controls look like they are very sensibly laid out. And of course, you've just got the one brake pedal, the foot one that does both front and back linked. We got a gauge for the gas, and I'm sure somewhere on this computer, which I have not learned how to use, it tells you distance till empty, air temperature, clock, all that good stuff. Your RPMs, and then your coolant temperature. So as soon as we find an opening up ahead, I'll get Heath to pull over, and I'll give him back the bike, and then we'll chat a little bit more about what this bike is like. Okay, so I'm back on my baby, the Super T. It was quite the experience riding that Can-Am Spyder. It's a very nice bike. I could definitely see why people who have balance issues or don't want to push a bike backwards would enjoy a bike like that. It of course has a reverse gear. It has all the electronic gadgets. Nice big tank for long fuel mileage. I found, in my humble opinion, that we hit some uneven road, and it seemed like the suspension was throwing me back and forth to the left and right, the opposite way that the steering was going. So it was quite a different feeling. It could be the way that he has the suspension set up for himself, because I'm sure you can customize it for what you like. As I was saying, definitely not something I would want to buy at this point in my life, but it is much more stable than a trike on the highway at highway speeds.
Hey there YouTube, we're back, and it's been a few hours since the test ride I did this afternoon, and I just thought I'd mention some of those specs we were talking about for the 2015 Spyder RT. Excuse me as I look down, because I want to make sure I don't miss-say any of these. So the 2015 Can-Am Spyder RT has a 1330 ACE inline 3-cylinder Rotax motor, and it's putting out about 115 horsepower at 7,250 RPM. It has about 96 foot-pounds of torque at 5,000 RPM. It has a 6-speed transmission with the paddle shifters, as I mentioned before. It has a 270 millimeter front discs with 4 piston calipers. It has 270 millimeter rear disc with a single piston caliper. It has something that they call dynamic power steering, which might be why it felt so twitchy as I was driving it. It has an adjustable electric windshield, comes with heated grips. It has 41 gallons or 155 liters of storage for the vehicle. It has a 1200 watt alternator, so no problem running all those extra lights, GPS, cameras, anything else you want to put on it. The side cases, while they look small because they are molded to the side, they actually each hold a full face helmet. And that is a large size helmet, by the way. The trunk in the front comes with its own little suitcase that goes in. It has 4 speakers, 2 in the front, 2 in the rear by the passenger. And it has floorboards for the driver and the passenger. It was a very nice motorcycle to ride. Very stable, lots of power, had a nice ride, although I'll put a caveat in there for that. The ride I did find became what felt to me like a little unstable in a harsher conditions where one side of the road was a little bit looser for traction, or if you were going over gravel with lots of potholes and stuff. Again, it could have been the way that the bike was set up for the person I was borrowing it from. I'm sure that it is something that is completely adjustable for the individual rider, given your taste of riding. The other thing is I found the steering to be quite, in my opinion, twitchy. Going around corners at high speeds, it felt like it wanted to throw you off the bike to the opposite side you were turning. I know Heath found that as well when he was riding the bike. Other than that, I quite enjoyed it. The prices are very reasonable. They start at around $20,000 to $25,000, considering what you're getting. You can tow a trailer with it very easily. I know that Marcell tows a trailer with his. So yeah, it's a very nice motorcycle. And I would highly suggest it for anyone, again, who has mobility issues or just doesn't want to lift up and push around a heavy bike anymore as they get close to their retirement age. Again, in my opinion, not a bike for me at this point in time, but would I consider it in the future if I needed to switch to something that was easier to get around? Absolutely, it would be something I would consider, especially if I had a passenger who was going to be riding with me. So I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'm going to insert now the pictures of the bike for your viewing pleasure. Anyways, we'll see you in the next video.